Hello there, it's your buddy Phil, Project Management Trainer and Coach. I hope you're doing well. This is really more for people who are project management practitioners and who think critically about things put in front of them. So I took a look at the PMBOK Guide 7th edition and I went through it numerous times last week and a week before. And you have seen a lot of the videos I put out. But then I began to think about some of the things that people had said on social media about it and some of the things I found on PMI's website. So the overall idea is that this 7th edition was published so that we could have a principle-based mindset towards project management. And I get that. I get understanding the importance of principles, right? You could have all the processes in the world, but if you don't have the right mindset and behaviors, all that is null and void. You'll not get very far. So I understand that. But then I began to think about the hypocrisy that lies in some of the pages. Let me explain what I mean. So there was this whole, big noise about getting rid of the 5 process groups and getting rid of the 10 knowledge areas, only to discover, oh, wait a minute. No, they're not saying get rid of the 5 process groups. And they're not saying that the 10 knowledge areas are not important. However, why aren't they in the PMBOK Guide 7th edition if they were important? That's my question to a layman, right, who's reading. They could ask, well, why are the knowledge areas not here? Everything else is there. Every model under the sun is in the 7th edition, and the 5 process groups is buried in there. But I just thought of the uselessness of removing the 5 process groups. There's absolutely no need to move them from full view. They've been moved into one of the side pages, but why? They're still legitimate. Anyway, that's one. Secondly, I see how the principles are replacing the process groups in terms of the focus, right? But that is not to say that the process groups have gone away. But when I think about the principle dialogue and discussion, I realize, okay, the knowledge areas have been replaced, but they've just been replaced by other things that look like knowledge areas. And they call them domains. So why not just leave at least the knowledge areas in place? I feel that the 7th edition has been partly changed for good, okay? Changed for good. Some parts of it are great. I like the way it's been whittled down. I like the way it's small. I like the way you've got very compact ITTOs. But again, part of my irritation is taking what we have known to be inputs, tools, techniques, outputs, and changing the language. It's the same thing. It's like people who are agile in name only. They remain with the same stuff and they just change the name. Now, while they're not showing us all of the plethora of ITTOs, they have changed the name to models, methods, and artifacts. The artifacts are inputs and outputs. The methods are pretty much your tools and techniques. And the models are a lot of those other things we would say were tools and techniques in the past, including the 5 process groups, which they've put in there as a model. So when I take a look at it, I honestly see a lot of change for good, but I also see a ton of just needless, tedious change. And all it's going to do is confuse people who already knew where they were going with knowledge areas and process groups. And it's just, in my mind, needless. You could have had the principles, but you could have still left that model that you created, that PMI created, right? They could have just left that in full view. So I see a little bit of just change for change's sake. I see a lot of change that could have just been negated and just stayed with what worked in the past and just beef it up, because the 5 process groups are still very legitimate, very accessible to helping people understand project management, and the knowledge areas are just great to show you these are the skills. This is the knowledge that you need. When you take a look at the new domains, you don't get that. And that's just the truth. It is what it is. But think about what you're reading, my friends, right? If you're a project manager or you're even certified in any of these things, don't just take what you are given like a zombie, right? You got a mind, you got a will. Take a look and really read into it and think critically about whatever is given to you. And make up your mind for yourself, all right? Just wanted to bounce that off. You're thinking, what do you think about the replacement of knowledge areas with domains? Do you really think that's a good move? Do you think that's value? And I want you to explain how, if you think that to be the case. But anyway, you've heard me rave and rant about how the 7th edition is a disaster waiting to happen. I still very much hold on to my opinion, but one thing is good. Everyone's telling you, don't throw away the 6th edition. Probably want to keep that in your library for a bit.